At 11:47 a.m. on March 12, two utility bills arrived at separate addresses, same account number, same due date, different names. One was signed. The other wasn't. I didn't open either envelope that morning. Not right away. I was reviewing the Q1 cash flow projection for our shared LLC, the one we'd incorporated in 2019, just after we bought the condo in Brookline. The spreadsheet showed $8,432.17 in retained earnings. Clean. Consistent. Unremarkable. But the mail sat there unopened for 17 minutes. Long enough for the espresso machine to cycle twice. Long enough for me to notice the return address on both envelopes wasn't the utility company's corporate P.O. box. It was a regional processing center in Manchester, New Hampshire, not where our service was billed, and not where either of us had ever lived. That's when I pulled up the utility account online. Not the one linked to our joint checking, the one I'd set up years ago, just in case. A backup login, created during a routine password audit. Two-factor authentication still active. Same phone number. Same recovery email. I hadn't changed it. Neither had she. The portal loaded in 1.8 seconds. Account status, active. Last payment, February 28. Amount, $197.41. Payment method, automatic withdrawal from joint account #XXXX7821. Then I scrolled down. Under Billing Preferences, it said, 2 delivery methods enabled, physical mail plus email PDF. I clicked Email History. 3 emails delivered between January and March. All sent to m.delaney@protonmail.ch. Not elena.r@protonmail.ch. Not my Gmail. Not the shared iCloud account we used for calendar sync. In joint account law, a co-signer has no unilateral right to change billing contact information without written consent unless a power of attorney is on file, or the account terms explicitly permit it. Ours didn't. The agreement we signed in June 2020, page 4, section 3.2 stated, all correspondence defaults to the primary account holder's verified address unless amended via notarized addendum. I am the primary account holder. My verified address is 27B, Oakwood Lane, Brookline. The second bill, the unsigned one, was addressed to 1147, South Beacon Street, Unit 3F, Boston. I'd never been to 1147S, Beacon. I'd never heard her say the word beacon in relation to housing. I typed the address into Zillow. Unit 3F, condo. Built 2016. 680 square feet, current listing status, rented occupied. Leased August 1, 2023. Monthly rent, $2,650. Lease term, 12 months. Landlord, Beacon Ridge Property Management, LLC. I searched Massachusetts Secretary of State filings. Beacon Ridge Property Management, LLC was formed December 12, 2022. Registered agent, M. Delaney. Business address, same as Unit 3F. Here's what I didn't do next. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I didn't walk to the bedroom and ask why her name was on a lease she never mentioned. Instead, I opened our joint bank's mobile app. Account #XXXX7821. I filtered transactions for February. 3 ACH debits to Beacon Ridge Prop Management, $2,650 each. Dated February 1st, February 2nd, February 3rd. Same amount. Same payee. 3 times. No memo field. No category tag. Just ACH debit. I checked the transaction details. Each cleared at 3:14 p.m. All 3 on the same day. That's when I remembered the calendar entry. February 1, 2 to 4 p.m., tax prep, CPA office, downtown. She'd told me she was meeting with our accountant about LLC depreciation schedules. I'd driven her to South Station that morning. She wore the navy coat with the brass buttons. Got off the 12:45 p.m. commuter rail. Said she'd take an Uber back. But the CPA's office is in the Federal Reserve Building, a 10-minute walk from South Station. Why schedule a 2-hour appointment if she was only there for 23 minutes? I pulled up her Apple Find My log, not the shared one, but the private device tracker I'd quietly enabled after noticing discrepancies in our shared iCloud location history last November. It required no notification. Just admin access to the family Apple ID, which, as the account creator, I still held. Her iPhone was at 1147 South Beacon Street from 2:18 p.m. to 3:26 p.m. on February 1st. Then it moved directly to South Station. Arrived at 3:41 p.m. I sat there. No music. No notifications. Just the hum of the refrigerator cycling on. And I thought, this isn't about lying. This is about architecture. She hadn't built a secret life. She'd built parallel infrastructure. 2 billing addresses. 2 email domains. 2 physical locations tied to the same financial identity, one public, one operational. One visible, one functional. Joint accounts are designed for transparency. But they're also designed for convenience, and convenience, when weaponized, becomes camouflage. Which brings us to the third artifact. On March 3rd, 8 days before those 2 utility bills arrived, our joint account received a wire transfer. $142,000. Origin, Horizon Capital Partners, LP. Purpose field, contract settlement, final disbursement. No invoice attached. No supporting documentation uploaded to the bank's secure portal. Just the wire confirmation. I'd seen Horizon Capital before. They were the investors who'd funded our LLC's expansion into commercial property management, the deal we'd closed in October 2023. We'd signed 3 documents, an operating agreement amendment, a promissory note, and a disbursement schedule. The schedule listed 4 payments: $98,000, $42,000, $36,000, and $22,000, totaling $198,000. We'd received the first 2. The third, $36,000, was due February 15th. The fourth, $22,000, was due March 30th. So why did $142,000 clear on March 3rd? I called Horizon Capital's operations desk. Spoke to a woman named Denise. Verified my identity using the LLC's EIN and my SSN last 4. She confirmed, yes, the $142,000 was processed March 3rd. No, it wasn't part of the original disbursement schedule. Yes, it was authorized by M. Delaney via secure portal upload. No, she did not submit a revised schedule. Yes, she did upload a signed disbursement authorization addendum dated February 28. Denise emailed me a redacted copy. Page 1, standard boilerplate. Page 2, signature block. Signature, M. Delaney. Date, February 28, 2024. Notarization stamp, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Notary Public, expires June 30, 2025. Notary name, L. Cho. I searched the Massachusetts Secretary of State's Notary Registry. L. Cho, licensed since July 12, 2022. Active status. Office address, 1147, South Beacon Street, Unit 3F. This is where systems intersect, not in emotion, but in jurisdiction. A notary's authority derives from their commission, which requires a verifiable business address. That address must be physically occupied, or at minimum, maintained, for the commission to remain valid. If L. Cho operates from Unit 3F, and M. Delaney leases Unit 3F, and M. Delaney notarized her own authorization, then the Notary Act fails the disinterested witness standard under Massachusetts General Laws Chapter 222, Section 17. It's voidable. Not fraudulent on its face. Voidable. which means the $142,000 wire, while processed, may not be legally enforceable as a binding disbursement. It may be recoverable. Or, depending on intent, subject to clawback. I printed the notary registry page. Printed the wire confirmation. Printed the Horizon Capital Authorization Addendum. Stapled them together. Then I walked to the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the Charles River. It was 4:22 p.m. The light was low. Gold bleeding into gray. I watched a rowing shell cut through the water, steady, silent, perfectly aligned. And I realized something else. None of this was hidden in code. Or offshore shells. Or encrypted drives. It was all in plain sight. 2 utility bills. 1 notary stamp. 3 identical ACH debits. The deception wasn't in the secrecy. It was in the repetition. The consistency of the lie made it legible not as betrayal, but as process. Like watching someone balance a checkbook wrong over and over until the error became the system. By March 8, 5 days after the bills arrived, I'd compiled a timeline. Not emotional. Not reactive. Forensic. Column 1, date. Column 2, artifact. Column 3, source. Column 4, contradiction. March 1, bank statement ACH debit to Beacon Ridge, $2,650, contradicts tax prep calendar entry. March 3, wire confirmation, $142,000, contradicts disbursement schedule. March 12, utility bills, dual addresses, contradicts joint account terms. March 14, notary registry search ELF shows address matches Unit 3F, contradicts claim of no secondary residence. March 15, landlord database crosscheck, Beacon Ridge LLC lists M. Delaney as sole member, contradicts we manage properties together narrative. Every contradiction pointed to the same node, 1147, South Beacon Street. Not as a place. As a pivot point. I went to the courthouse the next morning. Not to file anything. To request records. Specifically, the recorded deed for 1147, South Beacon Street, Unit 3F, filed with Suffolk County Registry of Deeds. The clerk handed me a microfilm reader. I scrolled to image number 448219. Deed dated August 1, 2023. Grantor, Beacon Ridge Holdings, LLC. Grantee, M. Delaney. Consideration, $1 and other valuable consideration. No mortgage recorded. No lien. No assignment of lease. Just a quitclaim deed filed same day as the lease commenced. That's when I noticed the notary seal on the deed. Same notary. Same address. Same stamp. L. Cho. But this time, the acknowledgement clause read, personally appeared before me, M. Delaney, known to me, or satisfactorily proven, to be the person who executed the within instrument. No mention of interest. No disclaimer. Just presence. Which meant under state law, the deed was facially valid. Even if ethically compromised. Even if structurally unsustainable. I left the courthouse at 11:03 a.m., walked 6 blocks. Stopped outside a small brick building with black iron railings. 1147, South Beacon Street. No sign. No buzzer. No nameplate. Just a bronze plaque beside the door, Est. 2016. I didn't go in. I stood there, hands in coat pockets, for exactly 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Watched 2 people enter. 1 exit. Saw the reflection of my own face in the glass. Pale. Still. Unsurprised. Because by then, I understood the design. This wasn't a second life. It was a second ledger. One that balanced not in dollars, but in deniability. I returned home. Sat at the desk. Opened the LLC's tax file, the one stored locally, not in the cloud. Pulled up the 2023 Form 1065. Schedule L balance sheet. Line 12, other assets. Amount, $0. But in the footnotes, handwritten, in her script, it said, see Beacon Ridge acquisition asset held personally pending entity restructure. No attachment. No valuation. No disclosure to the IRS. Just those 9 words. That's when I found the safety deposit box key. It wasn't in her jewelry box. Or her desk drawer. It was taped with clear packing tape to the inside flap of the LLC's original operating agreement binder. Stamped executed June 12, 2019. The key was small. Brushed nickel. Engraved with Box 441, First National Bank, Downtown Branch. I'd never seen it before. But I knew that branch. It's 3 blocks from the courthouse. And, according to the bank's website, Box 441 was leased to M. Delaney on July 17, 2023. 1 month before the deed. 1 week before the lease began. I drove downtown. Walked into First National. Asked for Box 441. Told them I was the co-lessee. They asked for ID. I gave it. They asked for the key. I placed it on the counter. The teller, a man in his late 50s, name tag reading Art Taylor, looked at the key. Then at me. Then at his screen. He typed for 7 seconds. Looked up. Sir, he said. This box was accessed yesterday. By whom? He hesitated. Then said, by the lessee. At 4:03 p.m. I checked my phone. It was 2:17 p.m. She was still at the CPA's office, according to her shared calendar. But her calendar said she had a 2 to 4 p.m. appointment. Which meant she'd left early. Or never gone. Or, and this is what made my breath catch, she'd been there twice. Once at 2 o'clock. Once at 4:03.